The peace on Veluna was fragile. Though the Galactic Concord had ended the war between humans and the Velunari centuries ago, old resentments never died completely. Small rebel factions, bitter about the changes, still plotted in secret. Captain Aaron Hale had returned to Earth for a time, but his heart and mind remained on the crystalline planet, on the princess whose courage and honesty had stirred something deep within him. When he was reassigned to Veluna, it was not for diplomacy, but for action. Reports of a rebel attack on the royal palace had reached the Human Alliance, and Aaron was sent as part of a rapid response team to ensure the safety of key personnel. He knew the risks. Veluna's terrain was treacherous, the rebels unpredictable, and the stakes higher than ever. But he felt no hesitation. Duty was duty, and for Aaron some duties were personal. The royal palace glimmered under the twin moons as Aaron and his squad approached. At first, the outer wall seemed intact, but as they drew closer, he could see the signs of battle. Burned scorch marks along the crystalline spires, shattered bridges, and smoke curling into the violet sky. Alarm klaxons blared inside the palace, and chaos ruled the corridors. Aaron's communicator crackled. "Captain Hale, the princess is unaccounted for. We have to move fast." Without another word, Aaron sprinted toward the heart of the palace. His instincts, sharpened by years of combat, guided him. He knew the building's layout well, thanks to his earlier diplomatic visits, and he moved like a shadow among the debris. He found her in the central courtyard, cornered by 3 rebels wielding energy daggers. Princess Lysera stood her ground, but fatigue and fear flickered in her eyes. She raised her hand, preparing to unleash a controlled blast of her energy, but she was outnumbered and exhausted. Aaron leaped into the fray. With precise movements, he disarmed one rebel, ducked under a swing, and knocked another unconscious. Lysera's eyes widened in shock and relief. "Aaron," she called, as if saying his name could make the danger disappear. "Stay behind me," he instructed, his voice calm but commanding. "I've got you." Together they fought side by side. Lysera's energy beams flashed like shooting stars while Aaron used human tactics, takedowns, quick strikes, and strategic positioning to neutralize the attackers. For the first time, the princess saw the full measure of human ingenuity and courage. It was not brute force alone. It was thought, heart, and timing combined. When the last rebel fell, the courtyard was silent except for the faint hum of Veluna's crystalline spires. Lysera's chest heaved, her face pale but determined. I thought I could handle it," she admitted. Her voice trembled slightly. "But I could not have done it without you." Aaron offered her a steadying hand. "You did more than I expected. Your bravery kept us both alive, but we are not out of danger yet." The two moved quickly through secret passages that Aaron had memorized during his earlier stay. The corridors echoed with distant shouts and the sounds of battle. For a moment they paused in an ancient chamber, walls covered in inscriptions from Veluna's earliest civilization. The soft glow of alien symbols cast patterns across their faces. Lysera looked at him, her eyes searching. "Aaron, if anything happens, if I do not survive, I want you to know, you are the only human I have ever trusted, the only one who has shown me what it means to be free." Aaron's hand found hers, holding it gently. "You will survive. I won't let anything happen to you. Not here, not ever." His words were firm, yet there was a tenderness she had never expected from a soldier. They rested briefly, sharing a small ration of water and nutrient bars. The silence was comfortable, filled with the unspoken connection between them. It was not just gratitude or respect anymore. It was something deeper, something neither of them had dared name but both felt keenly. Their respite was short-lived. The rebels had tracked them, and soon they heard the echo of footsteps and the faint crackle of energy weapons. Aaron pushed Lysera behind a pillar and took a defensive stance. He was cut, bruised, and weary, but his resolve was unwavering. The rebels attacked again, more coordinated this time. Aaron blocked a strike and was grazed by an energy blade. Pain shot through his arm, but he did not falter. Lysera, gathering her remaining strength, sent out a pulse of energy that knocked 2 rebels off their feet. The final one lunged at her, and Aaron intercepted, taking the hit himself. He fell to the ground, his body trembling from the impact. Lysera's heart lurched. Fear, anger, and desperation surged through her. She placed her hands on his chest, channeling her life energy in a controlled flow to heal him. The warmth of her power spread through his body, closing wounds, restoring strength, and leaving Aaron breathless but alive. He opened his eyes, seeing her face, tears glistening in the moonlight. "Lysera," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "You saved me." She shook her head, holding him close. "No, you saved me first. If you hadn't been here, I wouldn't be standing." The bond between them deepened in that moment. Words were unnecessary. Actions, courage, and care had spoken louder than any declaration could. Two worlds, once enemies, now stood united in this quiet chamber, in the heart of danger, by the bravery and trust of one human and one princess. When the royal army arrived, they found Aaron and Lysera standing together, exhausted but unharmed. The rebels had been defeated, thanks in no small part to their teamwork. Aaron was taken for medical care and Lysera was escorted to the throne room, where her father, King Velunari, awaited. The king's eyes, sharp and calculating, softened when he saw the two together. He had heard reports of the rebellion, of the courage shown by a human soldier and of the loyalty the princess had displayed. Tradition had always dictated Velunari marriages, and interspecies unions were forbidden, yet he could not ignore what he had witnessed. Lysera stepped forward, her voice steady. "Father, I have seen what humans are capable of. I have seen one human, Captain Aaron Hale, act with honor, courage, and care. I choose my own path. My heart belongs to him." The court fell silent. Gasps of surprise echoed through the chamber. Some nobles whispered objections, clinging to old prejudices, but the king raised his hand. "Lysera, if your heart is certain, then you shall have your choice. The human shall be granted honorary citizenship of Veluna. No law shall prevent him from standing beside you should you wish it." Lysera's eyes filled with tears and she bowed deeply. "Thank you, Father. I will honor this trust with all that I am." Aaron, healed and standing beside her, looked at her with admiration and awe. "I never expected this," he admitted. "I only wanted to do my duty, and somehow I found something far greater." The king nodded, a small smile on his face. "Sometimes the greatest duty is to follow the heart." In the days that followed, peace talks between the Human Alliance and Velunari Empire continued, strengthened by the story of a soldier and a princess who had bridged the gap between two civilizations. Their courage and partnership became a symbol of hope, showing that unity and understanding could triumph over fear and tradition. Lysera and Aaron spent time together, learning about each other's worlds, cultures, and hearts. They laughed, trained, and shared quiet moments in the palace gardens. The bond between them was no longer a spark but a steady flame, nurtured by trust, respect, and love. One evening under the twin moons, Lysera took Aaron's hand. "I once whispered that I wished I could marry someone like you, human," she said softly, her eyes bright. "Now I can, and I choose you." Aaron smiled, holding her close. "And I choose you, Lysera. No matter the world, no matter the stars, we are together." The twin moons reflected in the crystalline palace, casting silver light over two beings from different worlds, united by courage, trust, and the quiet power of the heart. Veluna was still a planet of challenges, but with their bond it was also a planet of hope, proof that even across galaxies love, bravery, and understanding could bring together the most unlikely of allies. And so, the human soldier and the Velunari princess began a new chapter, not as savior and protected, but as equals, friends, and something far more enduring. Partners who had chosen each other freely, and who would face the future together, with hearts open and unafraid. The stars above Veluna shone a little brighter that night, as if celebrating a love that bridged worlds, a bond that had changed history, and a promise that humanity and Velunari could walk forward together into the unknown. The sky over Veluna shimmered in shades of violet and gold, a planet bathed in perpetual twilight. Its surface sparkled like crystal fields under the twin moons, giving the impression of a world suspended between dream and reality. Captain Aaron Hale stood on the observation deck of the human outpost, gazing at the breathtaking landscape below. Veluna was beautiful, yes, but it was also foreign, dangerous, and still recovering from centuries of conflict. The recent peace treaty between the Human Alliance and the Velunari Empire had only just begun to settle, and tensions still simmered beneath the surface. Aaron had been stationed on Veluna for several months as part of a peacekeeping mission. Humans had once been enemies here, invaders in the eyes of the Velunari, and many of their citizens still carried memories of human attacks. Yet he felt no resentment, only a duty to protect and understand. His heart had always been guided by a simple code: Help when needed, stand firm when challenged, and never betray trust. It was this honesty, this steadiness that would soon draw the attention of someone unexpected. The palace of the Velunari royal family was a structure that seemed alive, its towers rising like crystalline trees glimmering in the soft light. Tonight, Aaron's unit had been invited to observe a ceremonial demonstration in the palace courtyard, a gesture of goodwill and an attempt to show that the humans meant no harm. The Velunari guards moved with elegant precision, their energy weapons leaving arcs of blue light in the air as they executed synchronized drills. Humans had long relied on brute strength and tactics, but the Velunari fought with grace, intelligence, and a kind of beauty Aaron had never seen in battle. Among the audience of dignitaries, Aaron noticed her, Princess Lysera Velunari. She stood apart from the others, her posture regal, her eyes bright and curious. She wore a flowing robe that shimmered like the stars themselves, and her presence carried an air of authority and confidence. Aaron had heard stories of her, brave, intelligent, and unafraid to speak her mind, yet cautious of humans. He understood the wariness. Humans had not always been kind to her people. But still, there was a spark in her gaze, something that drew him in without him understanding why. The demonstration began in earnest. The Velunari guards faced off against automated drones, their movements flowing like water. Then, without warning, a control error sent one drone spinning wildly toward the royal platform. Panic surged as the machine's energy blade slashed through the air, and a guard near the princess froze, unable to act in time. Without hesitation, Aaron sprinted forward. He grabbed a metallic barrier, angled it, and deflected the drone's attack just as it would have reached the royal box. Sparks flew and the drone skidded to a stop moments later, deactivated by the quick intervention of the human soldier. The crowd gasped. Princess Lysera's eyes widened, but not in fear, astonishment. She had seen humans in battle before, but nothing like this. No bravado, no display of force for show, just calm, precise action that saved lives. Her heart raced with an unfamiliar admiration, and a seed of curiosity was planted. After the demonstration, Aaron was escorted toward the palace gardens. It was here, in the lush greenery of alien flora and softly glowing plants, that he first encountered Lysera up close. She approached quietly, her movements graceful, almost floating over the garden path. "You acted quickly," she said, her voice melodic yet carrying a trace of awe. "I did not expect a human to move so decisively." Aaron bowed slightly, a gesture of respect he had learned on Earth. "I saw someone needed help. I didn't think about expectations, Princess. Just doing my duty." His voice was calm, steady, and sincere. Lysera studied him, her eyes flickering with a mix of curiosity and surprise. "I have always been told humans are reckless, impulsive. But your actions, they were precise, controlled, and yet kind. I do not understand it." Aaron smiled faintly. "Not all humans are reckless. Some of us act when it matters most, without worrying about appearances." He paused, then added quietly, "Sometimes, the heart makes decisions that the mind can't explain." Lysera looked away briefly, gazing at the alien night sky. Her people had rules, traditions, arranged marriages that she could never ignore. Yet something about this human stirred a feeling she had never dared to name. "Perhaps I have underestimated humans," she murmured. Her voice carried more than words. It carried the beginning of an awakening. Over the next few days, their paths crossed again. Under the guise of diplomacy, Aaron offered Lysera glimpses into human life. Stories of Earth cities, tales of courage and hardship, even small gestures like teaching her to throw a paper airplane, laughing at the simple joy it brought. At first, Lysera resisted, unsure why she felt drawn to him, but each moment chipped away at the walls she had built around her heart. Humans were strange, she thought, but not in the way she feared. There was honesty, warmth, and a strength in them she had rarely seen in her own people. One evening, Aaron found himself walking through the palace gardens again, this time with Lysera beside him. The moonlight bathed the crystalline plants in silver, and the air was cool and fragrant. "Do you ever wonder," Lysera began, "why we are forced to marry people we do not choose? My father, he wants alliances, not happiness." Aaron nodded slowly. "Many cultures do that, but the truth is love isn't about politics or duty. It's about two people who choose each other, even when the world tells them otherwise." Lysera turned to him, her expression soft, almost vulnerable. "And humans? Do you always follow your heart?" she asked. Not always, he admitted. Sometimes fear or duty gets in the way. But when it matters most, I try to follow it. I try to do what's right. His eyes met hers, steady and unwavering. For a long moment, Lysera was silent. Her mind whirled with emotions she had never felt before. Respect, curiosity, something deeper, warmer. Admiration. Could it be love? No, she dismissed the thought. Royals did not choose. Hearts were secondary, and yet as Aaron's words sank in, she felt a longing she could not name. When the time came for Aaron to return to his outpost, the palace gates loomed between them like a barrier of duty and distance. Lysera's hands trembled slightly as she watched him prepare to leave. Will you return? She asked quietly. Aaron smiled, though a hint of sadness shadowed his features. I will when duty allows, but even if I cannot, know that I will remember this, every moment spent here, and every lesson I have learned from your people. As the shuttle lifted off, Lysera's gaze followed it until it disappeared into the horizon. Her chest ached, a strange emptiness she had never known. She whispered softly, almost to herself, I wish I could marry someone like you, human. That night, Lysera sat in her chamber, staring at the stars outside her window. She thought of Aaron's calm strength, his kindness, the way he had acted without fear, without seeking recognition. Her heart, which had always belonged to duty, now yearned for something else, something human, something she could not name but could no longer ignore. Days passed, and the princess found herself anticipating any news of Aaron. She listened to reports of his movements, small human habits he had shared, the way he treated others with respect and patience. Her admiration grew into a quiet obsession, not dangerous, not reckless, but deep and sincere. She had always believed humans were strange, but now she understood a truth she could not escape. Sometimes, the simplest heart could shine brighter than the grandest palace or the most loyal army. One evening, Lysera walked alone in the gardens again, tracing her fingers along the glowing petals of alien flowers. She remembered Aaron's words about following the heart. She wondered if, in some distant future, she could choose for herself. Could she defy tradition? Could she allow herself to feel something forbidden? She did not know, but she knew one thing. The human soldier had changed her world. Not with force, not with power, but with the simple courage to act rightly and honestly, and in her heart she hoped that one day paths would cross again. Far above, the twin moons glimmered, casting light over a planet slowly learning to trust a new kind of ally. And somewhere in a distant human outpost, Captain Aaron Hale thought of a princess who had intrigued him more than any mission, more than any world he had ever seen. Neither knew what the future held, but both had felt the first spark, a connection between two species, two hearts and two worlds that had once been enemies. The universe was vast, unpredictable and full of danger. Yet tonight on Valuna, in the quiet shimmer of moonlight and crystal, something extraordinary had begun. Something that could change the course of two lives and perhaps the history of their worlds. And in the quiet of her chamber, Lysera whispered again with hope and longing, I wish I could marry someone like you, human.